So this morning some stuff came up which meant I was basically in my house all morning. I got a late start to my day. So now I only have like a few hours to do all the things I'm trying to do. So at 4 today, I'm meeting up with my Kung Fu instructor to record a podcast for this channel. But before then, I wanted to get a workout in. It's Saturday today and I usually use those days as like a rest day. But tomorrow I have an obligation from like noon until 3 probably. And that's like usually the time span where I do my working out. So I want to try and at least get a run in today in case I don't have time tomorrow for that. But I'm also hoping to go to the park where I saw some really cool mushrooms. Yesterday I went there with my friend Jason. I filmed some stuff for a quick Adventure Archives video on mushroom ID stuff. And I think later today I'm gonna cook some of those mushrooms, but I still have to go back and film those. So it's 1:30 right now. I have about like 2.5 hours to do all of that. We'll see if I succeed, but I'm sure my instructor will be cool pushing things back a bit if he needs to. Yesterday I went there with my friend Jason.
Oh yeah.
Do you think it's gonna rain though, seriously?
I think it might rain, yeah.
Shit.
Buy like an image stabilizer, you look like we're off-roaded. We'll just pretend we were off-roading. We'll pretend you live in the woods.
You introduced me to mushroom honey.
Yeah.
And we found like a bunch of dryad saddle.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. There were pounds and pounds of it.
You don't have to be shy on camera, Jace. You're so coy. Just like your tattoo.
I think the wall was built during the Great Depression as a public works project. They've modernized it still since then, but most of the wall is from then.
So we were headed to the park to film these mushrooms and now we're stuck in traffic. We've been on the same like intersection for like a half hour probably.
This is gonna be the least wholesome episode of Adventure Archives.
You gotta turn around now. No dogs allowed, you dog. Well, we kind of drove like an hour for nothing, but
Got rained out.
yeah.
Maybe it'll be better tomorrow.
Yeah. We're taking a quick stop to look for giant puffballs, which Jason says he's found in this area before.
Look at that.
Our detour paid off. Whoa, those are beautiful.
Polyporus squamous, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. This was the first mushroom that I found when I went hunting with you.
Yeah.
And we found like tons of them everywhere.
You should get the little bug holes on the bottom.
Yeah. One of the benefits of having a vlog is that it kind of holds me a little more accountable to doing things that I say I'm gonna do. You know, when no one's watching, it's really easy to get lazy and just lie around. When I'm filming it, I at least have to exercise enough to get something on film. But you know, once you start getting that ball rolling, it's a lot easier to do the full amount. It's always like the first step that is the hardest thing to do when it comes to anything like exercise or chores or anything of that sort. So I think today I might actually do some leg workouts. My legs are actually like by far the strongest part of my body. And I think a lot of that comes from just being able to hike. Whenever we're filming, we're hiking uphill a lot and we're holding like an extra 35 or 40 pounds on our backs. When it comes to the legs, I feel like there's actually certain things I can do that make me feel a little more athletic than the average person. Everything else, I'm definitely subpar in that domain though. But I figured I'd show you some of the leg exercises I do. And a lot of these are focused on training balance and power when it comes to like kicking and kung fu. But yeah, let me show you some of these. So this one kind of helps strengthen your leg when it comes to kicking. In Wing Chun, you kick like this. And so you're kind of stomping the person that you're attacking. And so what I'm gonna do is get on one leg and then jump on this one leg. You don't have to jump every time. You can also kind of do like these lunging or squatting motions. That's really good for learning balance and stuff. One other thing you can do for balance, get on this little balance platform. Well, first you can just start by learning how to balance on these, but then you can also try and do a single leg squat like this. Okay, after running and showering, I have like less than an hour, I think, to go to the park, film some of the mushrooms, so we'll see how that goes. Okay, so hopefully I can remember where I found these mushrooms. I'm gonna try to do this as quickly as possible, obviously, because I'm trying to get to the park to record a podcast later. But maybe as I see some other stuff, we'll talk about that. So for example, over there's a bunch of pawpaw saplings, and they typically do tend to not grow very tall because they grow in shady areas. There's some more over in this direction too. Where was that one mushroom? These guys down here with the heart-shaped leaves, that is wild ginger, and I've only tasted it a couple times, but it does have a very gingery taste. And that right there was spice bush, which we talked about, I think, in our second episode ever, Morgan Monroe. So I guess when I said I wasn't doing plant ID on my vlog, I lied. Oh baby, look at this. Right, there's one more area where I know there is a mushroom, and I am getting very close, so I'm gonna keep an eye out now. But that was fun. I was, while I was filming that, some people were like asking about it, and it's always so fun to share that knowledge with people. Yep, there it is. All right, mission accomplished. Right now, it is a beautiful sunny day, but my friend says it's storming really badly further south in Columbus. And you know, I can actually hear thunder in the distance. I don't know if you could just hear that, but there was some thunder for you. This is the new ritual every time you're doing anything in public, just sanitize your hands. That was fun though. That was a great little podcast session. Yeah, he teaches under the City Wing Chun Athletic Association. So yeah, it's so great to have Kung Fu instructor that is actually also like really similar, or at least there's like an open-mindedness I feel like that I wouldn't expect from some martial art instructors. It's nice to just like have an instructor that's nice and chill. But yeah, I'm hoping that podcast went well. It's like during recording, I kept noticing my mic was a lot softer. And every time I record a podcast, I'm so paranoid that stuff doesn't record properly. But either way, now it's time to go home and cook some of those mushrooms that I found. Although, you know, first I might pick up some bell peppers, because I'm thinking of making like chicken of the woods, chicken fajitas. You know, something I will say about that podcast and just life in general, I don't care so much about the details of what someone's beliefs are. What I care more about is that someone is open-minded enough to hear something and not immediately dismiss it. It's one thing if you've thought about stuff for a while and you have certain principles and convictions that kind of guide what you do. I think it's important to have that because you also don't want to be someone who just willy-nilly follows the next thing you hear. But at the same time, it's such an important part of life is to be able to listen to what someone says and to not dismiss outright what they're doing or saying or who they are as a person. One of my mottos is to try most things twice. And I think that kind of embodies what I'm trying to get at, because there are certain things where, because of your principles and convictions, you're like, okay, I know I don't really need to try that. But there's other things where you need to try it not just once, but 2 times, so that you know you're not just basing your judgment on something on that first experience. Anyway, that was a very Robbie style vlog rant, but again, my saying is to try most things twice, and this is my second vlog, so. This is not a corradilla, as Robbie would put it. I think if I gave it a rating out of 10, I would give it a 7. And I have my grapefruit mango seltzer water. Cheers to that. You know, one thing I will say really quickly, I was vegetarian for a few years. Eating the chicken of the woods and stuff reminded me of that. And that is one area where a lot of people are closed-minded. It can be on either side of that issue. I mean, obviously everyone knows about like the stereotype of the annoying vegan. I mean, I've definitely met people like that. But when I was vegetarian, I faced some amount of pushback. I remember someone saying I was a picky eater, but the irony of that is that, like, who's actually a picky eater, right? Like, I would argue you have to be an open-minded eater to be vegetarian. I so get the impulse to be, like, kind of closed-minded on things and to, like, take a hard stance against stupid menial stuff. I do that all the time. And sometimes it's just kind of funny, but it's like, I feel like if you're gonna be that sort of person, you have to be self-aware about it. And you gotta take time to reflect on yourself and be like, okay, in reality, some of this other thing that I'm unfamiliar and uncomfortable with actually does make sense on some level. But yeah, I think that does it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Also remember to check out the podcast. As long as you're okay with a not so family friendly podcast, I think you will enjoy it. Anyway, I will see you next time.